So in 19th chapter, the Parikshit Maharaj is going back to his palace, and then he was contemplating and repenting. Okay, let us read the first summary, and then we will come to the PPT. Okay, first section we have seen till 11 verses. 1 to 7 verses talk about how Parikshit Maharaj was going back to palace, but he is thinking about the sage and the curse. But after going to palace, he came to know by the one of the disciple of Samik Rishi that he was cursed. Of course, his his disposition was extremely wonderful. Of course, it's natural for him being a devotee. He is born and brought up in a very great devotional atmosphere. So though he was cursed, he took it as a great news, good news. This is a good news because it gave a chance to leave everything and completely to absorb in the Lord himself. So he took it as a good news. And then events happened, how he sat at the banks of the Ganges and the sages arrived. I mean, knowing the news, it became so viral. From all over the planet, all the great sages came, including Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, Narada Muni, great souls, all the great souls came and arrived there. And Parikshit Maharaj received them by offering his obeisances, by bowing to their lotus feet. So till that point we have seen. So let us just read the summary of 8 to 40, and then we will go by verse by verse. Yes, please. Okay, I didn't share, I think. 1 minute. Yeah.
Verses 8 to 24. Many rishis arrive. Maharaj Parikshit welcomes them by bowing his head to the ground and tells them of his decision to fast until death. The demigod over the earth and beat celestial drums, and the sages glorify the king's decision. Maharaj Parikshit inquires from the sages of the duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. Verses 25 to 40. The great sages are not unanimous in their response to these questions. Then Shukadev Goswami, inspired by Lord Krishna, approaches the assembly. Shukadev, only 16 years old, does not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He is surrounded by women and children. He is naked, and his bodily hue resembles that of Lord Krishna. On Shukadeva's arrival at the meeting, everyone except Vyasadeva, Narada, and a few others stand up. Shukadev is offered the presidential seat at the meeting. The king then questions the sage using the duty of one about to die.
So here, as we have seen, that Parikshit Maharaj, very wonderful verses in the 18th chapter also. And here Parikshit Maharaj, his internal mood was very much revealing in the first section. He took it as a great blessing from the Lord. As we discussed that events happen in life, but the responses are in our hand. So though something bad is happening to us, how we respond to that situation will definitely see how future events will happen later on. Let us suppose we are on the fire, we are cooking something, and by mistake some fire goes and touches the curtain next to stove or whatever, some cloth, let us suppose. And if you observe the fire in the kitchen, if you go and fan it, then it's a bad reaction, right? Already something mistake happened. And if you go and fan it, or you do something which fire aggravates, then it becomes more worse. Or on the other hand, if you take a preventive measure immediately, then putting off with a fire extinguisher, etc., then it's a good reaction. So when something happens to us, some bad happens to us, how we react to that itself gives an again a further result. So if we react if we respond in a very positive manner, then the result will be very wonderful. Just like here, the Shringi cursed Parishit Maharaj. That is bad happening to Parishit Maharaj. But how he responded? He took it as a great blessings from the Lord. So that resulted in bringing out Srimad Bhagavatam itself. Right. So if he might have, in general cases, people go into depression mode or discouragement, or even cursing people, cursing situations. Why this is happening to me? What did I do? This person is responsible, or Krishna is responsible. He giving sometimes even curses to Krishna or God many times. So this is where these kinds of reactions will worse the situation many times. Just like aggravating the fire in kitchen. So, but what is the critical point? The critical point is that how we, in a day-to-day course, how we mold our consciousness, how we develop our internal mood and consciousness. That's how we are going to respond to situations. So it said in army, there is a slogan: the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. So those who are, I don't know, any of you were there in any kind of army kind of a situation previously or and now? May not be, I think so. But they have the slogan, every day they have a slogan in army especially: the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. So similarly, the more we keep on preparing for exams, the life exams, at different intervals, that exams keep on happening in our life, just like in academic year also. For you also, there are exams are there, many intervals, open book, closed book, sloka test, right? So by test will come, so you start preparing for that. You keep on preparing, and you keep on understanding the verses or whatever. So similarly in life also, we keep on preparing to face the situations. Preparing doesn't mean that we have to do something extra. We keep on just reading, understanding Bhagavatam, come together, chant, dance, take prasad. Doing all these things is more and more we are tuning our consciousness to respond in a positive manner whenever some testing situations come in our life. So that's the key point here. So that's the Parishit Maharaj received. He took it as a great blessing from the Lord. As the verse 4 says that he took it as good news, and it became the cause of it took it as the cause of his indifference toward worldly things. And text 5, he sat down on the banks of the river, and he took a vow that I will fast until death, 7 days. Accepted vows of sage. Of course, glories of Ganges are also explained in one of the verses. So all the sages, great thinkers, accompanied by their disciples, who are Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. It said that the great souls are pilgrimage places of themselves. So they arrived, all the great sages arrived. So he received them properly and bowed his head to the ground. So Prabhupada explains the etiquette of bowing down especially while leaving the body. Prabhupada also exhibited or demonstrated how one should behave while leaving the body, or of course while going back to Godhead, how one should ask forgiveness. He specifically asking forgiveness from his god brothers in Vrindavan. So, so that's the move Prabhupada explains. Generally, at the last stage of life, one's life, this humble method is adopted by every sensible man in order to be excused before the departure. So in this way, Parikshit Maharaj implored everyone's goodwill for going back to Godhead. So this is the Parikshit Maharaj Vaishnava etiquette, because he was born and brought up in a very devotional family, and he knows the etiquette, how to understand, how to behave, how to take every situation. That's how he's acting. So let us continue our discussion from text 12. Sukopavishteshu vadatesu bhuya krita pranama svachikishitam yad vignapayama savivikta cheta upastitogre vigrihita pani. Please read.
After all the rishis and others had seated themselves comfortably, the king, humbly standing before them with folded hands, told them of his decision to fast until death.
Yeah.
Al-
Yeah, please read.
Although the king had already decided to fast until death on the bank of the Ganges, he humbly expressed his decision to elicit the opinions of the great authorities present there. Any important decision, however firmly fixed, should be confirmed by some authority. That makes the matter perfect. This means that the monarchs who ruled the earth in those days were not irresponsible dictators. They scrupulously followed the authoritative decisions of the saints and sages in terms of Vedic injunction. Maharaj Parikshit, as a perfect king, followed the principles by consulting the authorities, even up to the last days of his life.
Yeah. So Prabhupada brings out a beautiful point that any important decision, however firmly fixed, should be confirmed by some authority. Because Parikshit Maharaj here, though he knows, he took a vow also that I will hear Krishna Katha and I will sit here till end of my life. But when sages came and they took their seats and they offered obeisances and told them his decision of to fast until death. So he's confirming whatever decision he has taken. That's what Prabhupada mentions, that about authority, that we take the decision, confirm, and of course we consult the authorities in important decisions. Could you please read this one?
Yes, Prabhu. One cannot write on spiritual matters without being blessed by Krishna and the disciplic succession of gurus. The blessings of the authorities are one's power of attorney. One should not try to write anything about Vaishnava behavior and activities without being authorized by superior authorities. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarasho viduhu.
Yeah. So
You
here
see,
in Chaitanya
Madhya
Prabhupada,
24.3.
yeah. So here Prabhupada is taking a specific example of writing as a service. So the context is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami taking permission and blessings of Radha Madan Mohanji. So Prabhupada writing in that context. So blessings of authorities are one's power of attorney. So for any matter, any important matter, small decisions also, definitely as a disciple, one wants to consult the spiritual master, but it's quite difficult nowadays to ask every decision to spiritual master. In case if it is accessible, we can write mails, or at least we can consult those who are superior to us, those who are near to us, superior to us, those in whom we have faith. That is the main point, that we are trying to consult and take a decision. Definitely in home also, in ashram also, if we take a decision, then it's better to consult with the family members, consult with other devotees, so that they have different kinds of perspectives. Everybody has different perspectives. So it's good to, it's essential in many of the matters. That makes matter perfect. So that's the point Prabhupada bringing out. And Parikshit Maharaj mentioned to them that I'm taking this kind of decision. So next 13. Raja Uvacha Aho Vayam Dhanyatamadrupanam Mahattamanugrahaniya Shilah Ragnam Kulam Brahmana Pada Socha Durad Vishushtam Batagrahya Karma. Please read.
Fortunate king said, "Indeed, we are the most grateful of all the kings, for we have been trained to get favors from the great souls. Generally, you sages consider royalty as refuse to be rejected and left in a distant place." Parikshit, should I continue?
Yeah, please.
Parikshit Maharaj feeling gratitude. According to religious principles, one must leave stool, urine, wash water, etc. at a long distance. Attached bathrooms, urinals may be very convenient amenities of modern civilization, but they are ordered to be situated at a distance from residential quarters. That very example is cited herein in relation to the kingly order for those who are progressively marching back home, back to Godhead.
So here Parikshit Maharaj is expressing his humility, that the situation is that all the sages assembled there, and he expressed his desire or his conviction, and then he's expressing himself how generally our royal, this considered royalty as a refuse to be rejected and left at a distance place. Generally, kings are not considered great saints in general, but definitely the Rajarshis are different. But in general connotation, the kings are very much in touch with money, women, and all kinds of opulences, enjoyments of this material body. So saintly persons generally they don't consider meeting them or talking to them, because sometimes they may also are in touch with a lot of sin, kings, because they have to do so a lot of violence, and of course definitely Rajarshis are different, but at the same time that enjoyment tendency is there and committing sin tendency is there. So saintly kings doesn't take much kind of they don't have liking towards meeting them and talking to them, or to speak of associating with them in the long term. So of course I am just remembering one incident happened. One of the spiritual masters, his name is Gopal Krishna Maharaj, when there was a option of one famous person offering a great amount to the temple to be built before NVCC came up. So then he didn't accept that kind of a donation, though it was a great amount, but still, because he thought his company was kind of doing some kind of a sinful act of non-vegetarian company or poultry. So though he was offering such a huge amounts, which could be great amounts of percentage in terms to build the temple, but still he never showed any inclination to meet also, what to speak of taking donation. So that shows how great personalities takes a great consideration Of course, everybody has their own way of approaching, but that kind of a decision he has taken. That so sometimes saintly person doesn't like to meet or to speak of taking some kind of a favor, great favor from, because it's contaminated too much with sin. So Parikshit Maharaj, he is feeling himself as like these places are mentioned that these are kept aside from the residential quarters. So similarly, the kings are kept aside by the saints. Of course, Prabhupada gives an example of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dealing with the King Prataprudra. King Prataprudra was very much wanting to meet and take direction and guidance by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was so determined that he said to the devotees that I will give up my life. What is the use of my life if I cannot meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So that was a determination of King Prataprudra. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very strong in his decision that I cannot meet. So, but still later on, slowly, by the devotees' presence, their appreciation towards King, especially Ramananda Rai, is very, very diplomatic appreciation towards King Prataprudra. He used diplomacy in a very positive way and then convinced Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he should give his mercy to him. So slowly in installments, first he gave as a outer cloth to Prataprudra, Uttari. Then he said, okay, you can bring his son, because son is not different from father. So you bring your son, let him send his son, so that I give my mercy to his son. So then afterwards, then the last installment is when he saw that king was doing a very menial service before before Lord Jagannath during Rath Yatra. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that that king is sweeping the road before Lord Jagannath, he took it as a great humbling activity from king's side. So it was very much pleasing to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So of course later on we know the story how he was given different guidance, different directions by devotees, and King Prataprudra could massage the lotus feet of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Vaibhava garden during the rest period, and then he got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the, of course, this is the case is entirely different, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing how he also himself quotes one verse. Nishkinchanasya bhagavat bhajanonmakasya param param digmishor bhagavasagarasya sandarshinam vishayinam matayojitam cha ahanta hanta vishabhakshanopya sadhu. He says, Nishkinchanasya bhagavat bhajanonmakasya, those who are endeavoring for the transcendence, they have to be extremely careful dealing with materialist people. So sense enjoyers. So it applies to everyone, not only brahmacharis and grahasthas. Those who are endeavoring for transcendence, those who want to advance spiritually, you should be extremely careful in association. So that's what here Prabhupada is bringing out. So he is saying about Parikshit Maharaj. He therefore felt grateful to sages for being present there at the last stage of his life, and he felt that it was all due to greatness of his late forefathers and grandfathers. He felt proud, therefore, that he happened to be the descendant of such great devotees. Yeah, Parikshit Maharaj is feeling that the presence of great souls, all the great sages, they came there because my connection with the great devotees of the Lord, Pandavas. I have a small connection. So because that connection, the sages came to bless me. That's what they moved and consciousness of Parikshit Maharaj. Okay. Tasyaiva meghasya paravaresho vyasakta chittasya grihesho bhikshnam nirvedamulo dvijashaparupo yatra prasakto bhayamasu datte. Please read.
Gratitude for a specific cause. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the controller of both the transcendental and mundane worlds, has graciously overtaken me in the form of a Brahmana's curse. Due to my being too attached to family life, the Lord, in order to save me, has appeared before me in such a way that only out of fear I will detach myself from the world.
Is it?
Maharaj Parikshit, although born in a family of great devotees, the Pandavas, and although securely trained in transcendental attachment for the association of the Lord, still found the allurement of mundane family life so strong that he had to be detached by a plan of the Lord. Such direct action is taken by the Lord in the case of a special devotee whom the Lord wants to accomplish a particular mission. Maharaj Parikshit could understand this by the presence of the topmost transcendentalist in the universe. The Lord resides with his devotees, and therefore the presence of the great saints indicated the presence of the Lord. The king therefore welcomed the presence of the great rishis as a mark of favor of the Supreme Lord.
Hmm. So situation is that though he was cursed, he took as a great blessings from the Lord. He understood as a blessings from the Lord. Then he went to Ganges, sat there, and he's thinking that because all the great sages assembled here, that he is taking as a great favor from the Lord, and that he is understanding this is the cause for the for my understanding also. So though he understood initially only this is all due to the mercy of the Lord, what is happening in my life, but still when great sages assembled there, when all they came, and then so Maharaj Parikshit could understand this by the presence of topmost transcendent in the universe. So that is taking as a great indication from the Lord, as a favor of the Lord, meaning that his consciousness, his humility is so wonderful that because you appeared here, now I am able to understand that everything happened is just plan of the Lord. So that point is conveyed in the purport. Though he himself came to a conclusion initially, this is all a great favor to me by the Lord, but still giving a great credit and a great appreciation to the sages, saying that because of you, your presence, and now I am able to understand that I have been given a favor. I am being favored by the Lord, both by the curse also and by your presence also. Both he is considering as great favors. Of course, the Prabhupada bringing out how he is thinking himself, the allurements of mundane life, family life, so strong that he had to be touched with the plan of the Lord. So that's the feelings of a consciousness of a great devotee, how his internal mood is always seeing the hand of the Lord. Though we may not be able to see the Lord's presence directly. I mean, King Parishit Maharaj is not seeing the Lord directly here, nowhere, right? Either in the curse or in the palace or at the banks of the Ganges. But still, he's seeing some indications, and then he's concluding it's favor of the Lord, especially the appearance of the sages. He's taking it's a great favor from the Lord. It's a tangible proof. That's a proof that the Lord is favoring me. So similarly, in our life also, we cannot directly see the Lord's presence immediately till when we reach the point of bhava or prema. There is no question of presence of the Lord, direct presence of the Lord, but still we see so many situations in life, many indications in life, and then we need to be having that kind of experience that, yeah, this is exclusively mercy of the Lord, the presence of the Lord. By his presence only, we may have so many experiences. You all have so many experiences also in your life. So the more we keep on contemplating on them, that develops, that builds more and more faith in the Lord and his presence and his reciprocation. Of course, there are many purports by acharyas also how when the devotee starts surrendering by especially chanting Hare Krishna, by taking to the process, by surrendering, by at least aspiring Diksha from a spiritual master, taking surrendering to a spiritual master by taking Diksha and all. These are all different levels of progression of surrender. But when the devotee starts chanting Hare Krishna, from that time onwards, to the degree one is surrendering, to the degree Krishna is taking care directly. So that's what Acharyas mentioned. One is not at all under the purview of laws of material nature. One is under the loving law of Krishna, loving hands of Krishna. So that's how the devotee has to perceive the hand of the Lord in our various phases of life. There will be some instances where we can see directly the mercy of the Lord. There are some instances we may not be able to perceive how it is the mercy of the Lord. It may take some time to understand, but it's all under the direction of the Lord. So that we need to grow gradually to understanding more and more this aspect, which gives very much nourishing to our spiritual life. Otherwise, spiritual life becomes spiritual life over the years, it will not be more. It cannot be. Maybe they can mute, I think. Hare Krishna.
Done, Prabhuji.
So otherwise, spiritual life becomes quite dry over the years. Yeah, that's what the famous sloka Bhakti Pareshanubhavo Viraktir Annitra. The sloka says that Tushti Pushti Kshudapayo Ekakala. Famous verse says that Bhakti Pareshanubhavo Virakti. These three things should happen as we practicing, as we surrendering to Krishna. Tushti Pushti Kshudapayo, just like a hungry person is eating. Then he is satisfied. First he gets the pleasure of with every morsel, and then he is nourished internally, and his hunger is subsided. Same thing. So bhakti is like when we are doing the different limbs of bhakti, we are joyful, eating prasad, dancing, chanting, meeting devotees. Of course, sometimes it's quite austere, but still. But this also get the paresh anubhava, that nourishment aspect is paresh isha anubhava. The experience of the Lord sustains, nourishes the spiritual life. That's how it is explained. Just like a tushti pushti, the pushti, nourishment, the body, is explained as paresh anubhava. It's compared to paresh anubhava, the experience of the Lord in life, in various situations of life. So unless that is there, that the spiritual life will not be nourished, the spiritual life will not be sustained. So that's in our hands. We need to see, we need to contemplate, we need to understand. So everything happening by the will of the Lord and mercy of the Lord, whatever is happening. That's Parikshit Maharaj is here experiencing that one by the presence of the sages. So text 15. Tam mopayatam pariyantu vipra Ganga cha devi drita chittamishe Dvijopasrishta kohakas takshakova dashatvalam gayata Vishnu katha. Please read. Hare Krishna.
O Brahmanas, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu.
Yeah, please continue.
As soon as one is given up completely unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, he is not at all afraid of death. The atmosphere created by the presence of great devotee of the Lord on the bank of the Ganges and Maharaj Parikshit completely acceptance of the lotus feet was sufficient guarantee to the king for going back to Godhead. He thus became absolutely free from all fear of death.
Yeah. So he's expressing, he's saying to the sages, I accept it, just accept me as complete surrendered soul. Of course, he's saying shelter of the sages, shelter of the Ganges. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. So while leaving the body, this is a situation, he is desiring what should happen. Because he is a devotee, he is aspiring that let Kirtan of Krishna Katha goes on while I leave the body. Of course, the devotee's aspiration is we keep on hearing and glorifying the Lord always, and especially while leaving the body. Because we know while leaving the body, it's quite tough time. That's why again Kulashekar prays, Krishna Vadiyya Padapankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva me Vishatumana Saraja Hamsa Prana Prayana Samaye Kafavata Pittai Utavarodhana Vidau Smaranam Kutaste. So how can I remember? This is one of the Prabhupada's favorite verses. He used to often quote. So how it's possible for me to remember you, my dear Lord, while leaving the body? Because at the time of death, it's quite tough. Kapavata Pitta, they choke up the throat, and there is a lot of difficulty in remembrance. Because once the body starts giving pain, then the subtle body becomes disturbed internally. The moment the physical body gets down, we can experience now also. Once the physical body gets down with fever and etc., the subtle body becomes quite disturbed. We cannot think properly. We cannot respond properly with people. We cannot. That's why we take off from the job also, because we can't deal with people much very congenially. So it's quite tough situation. So what to speak of leaving the body? The subtle body becomes quite disturbed. So that's why the remembrance becomes quite difficult. That's why the great souls, though they are capable of, because they are separated from the body, just like example is given, just like a coconut, when it becomes dried up, then there is a sound inside. The coconut shell is entirely separated from the external shell. So similarly, advanced devotees, they are not attached to the external shell of this body, but still they feel that we are attached to this material body. So it's quite difficult to remember you, my dear Lord, while leaving the body. So please, so they either taking prayers of the Lord, asking others to continue to chant the names of the Lord. So they desire various things so that they remember the Lord continuously. So that's the main point expressed here, that he is desiring that Krishna Katha go on while I leave the body. So then he expresses, if at all, if I have next life, so let my desire, he is expressing the desires here in the next verse. Punascha bhuyad bhagavatyanante katim prasangasya tadashrayeshu mahatsu yamyam upayami srishtim maitrastur sarvatra namodvijebhyah. Please read.
Again offering obeisances. Parikshit Maharaj aspirations, even if he was to die, again offering obeisances unto all you Brahmanas. I pray that if I should again take my birth in the material world, first, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna. Second, association with his devotees. And third, friendly relation with all living beings.
Please read.
That a devotee of Lord is the only perfect living being, and is explained herein by Maharaj Parikshit. A devotee of the Lord is no one's enemy, although there may be many enemies of devotees. A devotee of the Lord does not like to associate with non-devotees, although he has no enmity with them. He desires association with the devotees of the Lord. This is perfectly natural because because birds of the same feather mix together. And the most important function of devotee is to have complete attachment for Lord Sri Krishna, the Father of all living beings. As a good son of the Father behaves in a friendly way with all his other brothers, so also the devotee of the Lord, being a good son of the Supreme Father, Lord Krishna, sees all other living beings in relation with the Supreme Father. He tries to bring back the upstart son of the Father to the to a center stage and to get them to accept the Supreme Fatherhood of God. Hare Krishna.
So here three desires is expressing that if at all if I have to take birth again, let me have complete attachment to my dear Lord Krishna and association with his devotees and friendly relation with all beings. So this is almost similar to Namaruchi, Vaishnava Seva and Jivadaya. What Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes, a devotee need to cultivate these three circles. Namaruchi in the sense that whatever relation with the Lord, Krishna Katha, Krishna Nam, Harinam, Harikirtan, attachment to his Katha and glorifying him, remembering him. So Namaruchi, in dealing with Krishna and Krishna's paraphernalia. And Vaishnava Seva is with devotees, because it's quite impossible to practice spiritual life without devotees. That's what Prabhupada also mentions, that to think that to practice spiritual life without association is simply hallucination. Of course, we need to see particular association which is very congenial and very inspiring to us. That is that you might have read in NY also, NY, different kinds of association we need to seek. But yeah, the devotees association, Machitta Madhgata Pranam, Bodhayanta Parasparam, that's the association of the devotees we grow more and more. And Ratim Prasangasya Tadashrayeshu, Mahatsuyamyam Upayam Srishtim, Maitrastu Sarvatra Namod Vijay, Maitri, friendly relations with all living beings. Friendly means that, yeah, definitely we would like to be friendly with everyone, because we see as a part and parcel of Supreme Lord. That's what Prabhupada is bringing out the point. That as we discussed in last time, that story of a young man and elderly personality, before they were not knowing the relation with family, they were kind of having ill feelings. But once they understood from the same family, they have good congenial relation. They are inspiring each other, encouraging each other. Similarly, we also, the more we try to come closer to our natural identity, as I am as a part and parcel of Lord, and everyone are part and parcels of the Lord. But the more we try to see that connection, then it's quite easy to help others and to relate with others and to help them at various levels, the living beings also, whatever we can. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning, that he tries to bring back the upstart sons of the Father to a center stage and to get them to accept the supreme fatherhood of God. That's how Prabhupada felt for everyone, right? Otherwise, why he went all the way to New York, such a distance place in proximity also from Vrindavan, which is such a spiritually important place. New York is such a spiritually dead place in one sense. Nobody knows about even Krishna. Even a person didn't heard the word Krishna, or to speak of other things. But still he tried in India. You know all the story, but he tried in India to 40 years to give the message, but no one was very much inclined. So Prabhupada was very much feeling for everyone. So that's how we see how Prabhupada endeavored so much, trying to give everyone a chance to develop the relationship, the wonderful relationship that everyone has with the Supreme Lord, Supreme Father. And then we also can try. We may not have the compassion, but at least we can be an instrument of the compassion of the great souls. Though we are not like great souls like Prabhupada who had such a great compassion for everyone. And without having that compassion, we may not be taking great risks and sacrifices to do that much. But still, we can at least be some instruments somewhere. As you might have read in Bhagavad Gita, there are different levels of surrendering to Krishna in 12th chapter. Manmana Bhagavat Bhakto, Madhyaji Mam Namastu. No, I think there are different verses. Yeah, the different levels you might have read also definitely. So there Krishna explains how one can surrender at different levels. So being an instrument, we can be a part of the mission of that compassion. That's what Krishna Maharaj desiring, at least if I have to come back again. So even then also we can always desire, not only if we have to come back, but at least in this life also we need to desire these three things. Nama Rishi Vaishnava Seva and Jividaya. Yes. Next, it is Smaraja Devasaya Yukta Prachina Muleshu Usheshu Dhiraha Udanmuko Dakshinakulaaste Samudrapatnya Swasutamyastya Bharaha. You read? Hare Krishna.
Sachisundari Mataji, you can read.
Prabhuji, I can read also.
Yes.
Just a second. In perfect self-control, Maharaj Parikshit sat down on a seat of straw placed on the southern bank of the Ganges, with the straw roots pointing east, and he himself faced the north. Just previously, he had given charge of his kingdom over to his son.
Yeah. So here Parishit Maharaj's position explained just after praying like this. When he sat down, the specific directions are given, which are considered very auspicious. Okay, directions and the seats of Kushagras. Evam chatasmin naradeva deve prayopavishte divideva sangha prashasya bhumo vikiran prasunair muda muhur dundubhyaschaneguhu. Yeah. Please continue.
Thus the king, Maharaj Parikshit, sat to fast until death. All the demigods of the higher planets praised the king's actions and, in pleasure, continually scattered flowers over the earth and beat celestial drums.
So this is from approval from demigods. Even from the top demigods are very much pleased by his vow, and by his etiquettes, and by his convictions, and by his desires. Basically, they are very much pleased by his devotional attitudes and devotional etiquettes, that they are giving their signs by offering flowers, scattered flowers from top. Please read.
The demigods take pleasure in seeing someone go back to Godhead. They are always pleased with the devotee of the Lord, so much so that by their Adi Devi powers, they help the devotee in all respects. And by their actions, the Lord is pleased with them. There is an invisible chain of complete cooperation between the Lord, the demigods, and the devotee of the Lord on the earth.
So here, by seeing the devotees endeavoring so much, sometimes demigods help the devotees. Demigods helping in the sense that they are cooperating with a particular kind of atmosphere, kind of encouragement. So here especially they showering flowers Prabhupada writing that there is a complete cooperation between the Lord, demigods, and the devotee of the Lord, devotees of the Lord. Yes. Next, 19. Maharshayo vai samupagataye asasya sadvit anumodamana puju prajanu grahashila sara yaduttama shloka gunabhi rupam. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
All the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaj Parikshit, and they expressed their approval by saying, very good. Naturally, the sages are inclined to do good to a common man, for they have all the qualitative powers of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were very much pleased to see Maharaj Parikshit, a devotee of the Lord, and they spoke as follows.
So here approval from sages. Now the demigods approved, and the sages are approving by Prashasya sadhu saying. Generally in circles of sages or saints, they say sadhu if you want to give a kind of a very good, we approve. Yes, like that. Sadhu, the words are used. Please read the highlighted portion, underlined portion.
The natural beauty of living being is enhanced by his rising up to the platform of devotional service. Maharaj Parikshit are absorbed in attachment for Lord Krishna. Seeing this, the great sages assembled were very pleased, and they expressed their approval by saying, very good.
Down.
All, yeah, 1 minute.
Yes.
All auspicious matters are removed from the path of the progressive devotee. Meeting all the great sages at the time of death was certainly auspicious for Maharaj Parikshit, and thus he was blessed by the so-called curse of Brahmana's boy.
Thus he was blessed. He was blessed by the so-called curse of the Brahmanas, because getting blessings from great souls and their approval is such a, as we have read the statement, the blessings of authority are our power of attorney. So on the blessings of great devotees only we can, Krishna will accept us back to Godhead. So just like many times in it happens, any filling of the forms, you need to give some authority, right? Either Google account or some accounts or many places. You have to give some proper authority, even PAN cards or whatever identity cards. You need to give some reference, right? Without reference, it's especially when a reference is there, it becomes quite easy. Either in a job, acquiring job, or going to states or whatever matters, you might have a lot of experience. The reference makes a lot of difference, especially in educational institutes. If you have a degree from IIT, etc., it's very easy to get into abroad universities. So the reference from especially the professor makes a lot of difference. If a professor recommends, then you get a PhD or a postdoc quite easy. So especially in devotional life, it applies. The reference from a authority of, the blessings of devotees, blessings of sages, especially it's considering Parikshit Maharaj, that the sages are also giving great approval to me. Next verse, text 20. Navayidam Rajarshi Varya Chitram Bhavat Sukrishnam Samanuvrateshu Yodhyasanam Raja Kirita Jushtam Sadyo Jahur Bhagavat Parshvakama.
He said, O chief saintly king, since you are one of the kings of the Pandu dynasty, who are all strictly in the line of Lord Sri Krishna, it is not at all astonishing that you have given up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So they're specifically citing one incident in the sense like one particular kind of a situation, activities by other kings. So they are saying that because many kings are come and bow down to you by their helmets. So such a great king you are. So he's saying, and they are saying, our sages are approving that, O chief of saintly kings, since you are one of the kings of Pandu dynasty, it's not at all astonishing that you given up your throne. So to achieve the eternal association of the Lord, so we need to give up something to achieve something higher. That's the definitely it holds for everything, not only for material things, or to speak of spiritual things. Children have to give up the childish activities or proclivities for play to study, and it applies to various levels. Right, sorry. And it applies to various levels and to spiritual life also. So the Krishna consciousness and the sense gratification goes ill together. If you want to, no pain, no gain. So if you want to achieve something higher, we have to leave something behind. So he gave up. Of course, he gave up for the great attachment, because of the attachment to the Lord. That's the point mainly mentioned here. He gave up the king also. He gave up kingdom not just like that. Prabhupada writes here that he gave up the imperial throne to his son Janmejaya. That is the way of all the kings in the dynasty, because they are all strictly in the line of Lord Krishna. So thus the devotees of the Lord are never enchanted by the glare of materialistic life. They live impartially, unattached to objects of the false, illegitimate way of life. So that's how the kings, especially Parikshit Maharaj, lived like that. He was responsible, and he gave to his son the great responsibility before taking up the renounced order. Yeah. Sarve vayam tavat ihasmahetha kalevaram yavat aso vihaya lokam param virajakshakam vishokam yasyayam bhagavata pradhanaha. Please read.
We shall
Sages
all wait here
resolve.
until the foremost devotee of we shall all wait here until the foremost devotee of the Lord, Maharaja Parikshit, returns to the supreme planet, which is completely free from all mundane contamination and all kinds of lamentation.
Please read.
Beyond the limitation of the material creation, which is compared to a cloud in the sky, there is a Paramvyoma, or the spiritual sky, full of planets called Vaikunthas. Such Vaikuntha planets are also differently known as the Purushottama Achyuta Loka, Purushottama Loka, Achyuta Loka, Trivikram Loka, Rishikesh Loka, Keshava Loka, Aniruddha Loka, Madhva Loka, Pradyumna Loka, Shankarshana Loka, Sridhara Loka, Vasudev Loka, Ayodhya Loka, Dwarka Loka, and many other millions of spiritual lokas wherein the personality of Godhead predominates. All the living entities there are liberated souls with spiritual bodies as good as the body of the Lord. There is no material contamination. Everything there is a spiritual, and therefore there is nothing objectively lamentable. They are full of transcendental bliss and are without birth, death, old age, and disease. And almost all the above mentioned Vaikuntha Lokas, there is one supreme Loka called Golok Vrindavan, which is the abode of Lord Sri Krishna and his specific associates. Maharaja Parikshit was destined to achieve this particular Loka, and the great rishis assembled there would foresee this. All of them consulted among themselves, about the great departure of the great king and they wanted to see him up to the last moment because they would no more be able to see such a great devotee of the Lord. When a great devotee of the Lord passes away, there is nothing to be lamented because the devotee is destined to enter into the kingdom of God. But the sorry plight is that such great devotees leave our sight, and therefore there is every reason to be sorry. As the Lord is rarely to be seen by our present eyes, so also are the great devotees. The great rishis therefore correctly decided to remain on the spot till the last moment.
Yeah. So the situation is that everyone is approving, demigods approved, sages approved, and sages are giving their blessings, saying sadhu, very good. And they said here, so because king took a vow that I will fast until death by and hear Krishna Katha. So they are also taking a resolve here that we will also sit here till the moment till that point that you go back to Godhead, till the moment you return, till that moment that you return to spiritual planet, supreme planet, completely free from viraja, without any material contamination, without any passion and ignorance, Shuddha Sattva planets. So that's what Prabhupada explains the whole situation, whole planetary systems. Yeah, we know beyond this material world, the 14 worlds and all the Brahmandas, there is a Karana ocean. Beyond that Brahman, the Brahman effulgence, within the Brahman effulgence, there are so many unlimited Vaikuntha planets. In that Vaikuntha planets, there are three special categories of the Vaikuntha planets: Mathura, Ayodhya, Dwaraka, and then Vrindavan, all planets. So that's what Prabhupada explaining all these categories. And then he's saying about how we are sorry. The sorry plight is that such a great devotees leave our sight, and therefore there is every reason to be sorry. As the Lord is rarely to be seen by our present eyes, so also are the great devotees. So that's the Pralayama, Lavena, of course, that verse is there. But rarity of devotees is always mentioned. The devotees are so rare. We need to take advantage of the great devotees. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatasiddhaye yatatam siddhanam kashinmam veti tatvatah. Even what to speak of devotees, even practitioners also very rare. Practitioners are also very rare. And the devotees, the exalted devotees, they are also Uktanam Visiddhanam Narayana Parayana. Yeah. Uktanam Visiddhanam Narayana Parayana. Potishvabi Mahamune. So there is a one verse that says that out of all the great liberated souls, the devotee of the Lord is extremely rare. So that is us, we need to take advantage of the great devotees association. Because now it's coming up as last time also we heard that our GBC meetings are going to happen from 25th to 31. So all the great souls from all over the world, around 45 to 50 GBCs are going to come visit, grace our New Vrindavan, New Vedic Cultural Center, NVCC. Sorry, not New Vrindavan, NVCC. Whenever you have some time, and you can at least have glance and taking darshan, hearing from them, and serving them in whatever way you can. It's a great boon for us. First time in the history of Pune, especially in ISKCON, that we have this GBC meetings and midterm meetings, but it's one of the occasions where we can see the great souls together and hear from them, associate with them. We don't know whether we can see again in one life their darshan, their hearing and all. Of course, by media we can see anyone and everyone today by media, but personally I am saying. Okay. आश्रित्य तच्छृषिगणा वचः परीक्षित समं मदच्युत गुरुचाव्यलीकम् आभाषतैनान् युक्तान् शुश्रूषमाणश्चरितानि विष्णोः.
All that was spoken by the great sages was very sweet to hear, full of meaning and appropriately presented as perfect true. So after hearing them, Maharaj Parikshit, desiring to hear the activities of Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, congratulated the great sages.
Yeah. So here the qualities of the speech is mentioned. They are very sweet to hear, full of meaning, and appropriately presented, and perfectly true. So that's how the speech has to be. You might have read in Bhagavad Gita the qualities of speech, austerities of speech, austerities of body, austerities of mind, and austerities of speech. So we need to practice the austerities of speech. Here they are very sweet and here to presenting very nicely. So then Parishit Maharaj here is saying, Samagata sarvata eva sarve Veda jatamurti dharastriprushte nehatanamutra chakaschanartha Prite paranugraham atmashilam. Yeah.
Parikshit Maharaj praises the sages. The king said, O great sages, you have all very kindly assembled here, having come from all parts of the universe. They are all as good as supreme knowledge personified, who resides in the planet above the three worlds, Satyaloka. Consequently, you are naturally inclined to do good to others, but for this you have no interest either in this life or in the next.
Yeah. So here Parishit Maharaj is praising the sages. He is comparing the sages to Vedas personified who resides in the planet of Satyaloka. They are personification of Shastras, of the saints. That's how we need to in the sense that sages are generally, they represent, they are personified Vedas because they follow Shastra. Yeah, the saint or sadhu has to follow Shastra always. Otherwise, there is no meaning to being a sadhu. That's why their king is saying that you are all personification of the Vedas. So you personify Vedas. So, and because you are personified Vedas, so consequently you are naturally inclined to do good to others. There is no material interest for them. That's the natural attitude of the sadhu means, saint means no kind of any material motivations. That's the real meaning of a sadhu. He doesn't have any expectations from the world, expectations from anyone, what to speak of the world. But he just depending on the Lord based on scriptures. Yeah, please read this one.
In Satyaloka, the inhabitants are fully cognizant of Vedic wisdom, and thus the mystic cloud of material energy is cleared. Therefore, they are known as Vedas personified. Such persons, being fully aware of knowledge, both mundane and transcendental, have no interest in either the mundane or transcendental worlds. They are practically desireless devotees. In the mundane world, they have nothing to achieve, and in the transcendental world they are full in themselves. Then why do they come to the mundane world? By the order of the Lord, they descend to different planets as Messiah to deliver the fallen souls. On the earth, they come down and do good to the people of the world in different circumstances, under different climatic influences. They have nothing to do in this world save or except reclaim the fallen souls rotting in material existence, deluded by material energy.
Yeah. So this is exclusively applied to Prabhupada. How? By the order of the Lord. He himself mentioned that Krishna wanted me to go and write books and give information and expand Krishna conscious movement. So they come just for the sake of all of us. And just their only motive is to do the good to the people. They don't have any other kind of motivations. So we try our level best to assist those kinds of personalities in their mission. Because there's a mission of the Lord. That is not for their sake. There is no any achievement when they have when they are extending. They don't gain anything for themselves. Right? Prabhupada, by going to New York and spreading Krishna consciousness movement throughout the world, there is nothing he is going to gain personally. But it's only for the sake of for the pleasure of the Lord and for the benefit of the people. That's the main mission of them. Tasyavah prucham imam vipritche visrabhya vipra iti krityataya sarvatmanam riyamanischa krityam shuddham cha tatra amrishatabhiyukta.
O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances and specifically of those who are just about to die.
Yeah, please read the highlighted portion.
Out of the two, the question relating to the dying man is most important because everyone is a dying man, either very shortly or after 100 years. The duration of life is immaterial, but the duty of a dying man is very important. Maharaj Parikshit placed these two questions before Sukadeva Goswami, also on his arrival, and practically the whole of the Srimad Bhagavatam from the beginning of the second canto up to the end of the 12th canto deals with these two questions. The conclusion arrived at thereof is that devotional service of the Lord Sri Krishna, as it is confirmed by the Lord himself in the last phases of Bhagavad Gita, is the last word in relation to everyone's permanent duty in life.
Yeah. So here he has now Parikshit Maharaj, after glorifying the speech, he is asking the two questions. He put forward two questions. Of course, you know the questions that what is the duty of everyone in all circumstances, and especially in specific one who is going to die. So these two are the questions, Parikshit Maharaj, and these are explained throughout the Bhagavatam, as Prabhupada mentioning here, practically the whole Bhagavatam, in the beginning, second canto, 12 cantos, deal with two questions. But Prabhupada mentioning the second one is more important because everyone is dying, man. So, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You can mute, Prabhuji. So here, Prabhupada Maharaj put forward the two questions. And Prabhupada writing here, Maharaj Parikshit was already aware of this fact, but he wanted the great sages assembled there to unanimously give their verdict on his conviction so that he might be able to go on with his confirmed duty without controversy among sages. So he wanted to have confirmation from sages. He put forward his questions. Tatra bhavat bhagavan vyasaputro yadrichayagam atamano anapekshaha alakshalingo nijalapatushto vritascha balair avadhuta veshaha. So here now Parikshit Maharaj introduction is coming. Till now all the sages came, Parikshit Maharaj received, and demigods glorified, appreciated, approved, and sages appreciated, approved, and then Parikshit Maharaj asked the questions. But because among the sages they could not come to a conclusion for these two questions. What is the best duty for everyone in general, and especially for a person who is going to die in specific? They could not come to a specific conclusion. What is the right thing to do? So they desired Sukadeva Goswami to appear. So because of their desire of sages and also Krishna's favor, so Sukadeva Goswami appeared there. That's what the context here. Yeah, please read the translation.
All that moment there appeared the powerful son of Vasudeva, who traveled over the earth disinterested, satisfied with his own achievement. He did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrounded by women and children and was dressed as if others had neglected him.
Yeah,
Such a liberated souls are disinterested in the affairs of this material world because they are self-satisfied by the great achievements of devotional service.
Yeah. The spiritual achievements are so great, they make other things very disinteresting or very insignificant. Yam labdvaja param labham manyate nadikam tataha. Gita says that once you achieve the highest thing, you never think that something else can be the great things in this world. So Swamin Pratardosmin Varam Nayache. So Dhruva Maharaj also, once he achieved the Lord, he compared the Lord as a jewel, and I am searching for broken pieces, but I got the jewel instead. So once you gain something higher, you give up something lower. That's what is Prabhupada bringing out. Such liberated souls are disinterested in the affairs of material world because they are self-satisfied with great achievements in the devotional service. Everyone is looking for greatest things, greatest happiness, greatest experience in life. But where they are trying to achieve is entirely different. People are trying to find everything in this material atmosphere, but it's quite difficult to find that happiness in this material atmosphere. You might have read also in the 12th chapter 1.12.6, Prabhupada states about everyone is hungry and thirsty for a spiritual atmosphere, though, but that hunger is not of material satisfaction, but that hunger is for spiritual atmosphere. So everyone, because the soul is itself is longing for happiness, ultimate happiness, it cannot be satisfied with anything of material. Just like we give example of fish in the water. You give fish anything, water. I mean, out of water, whatever you may give, you give dollars, you give ice creams, you give AC, you give mobile, latest mobile iPhones, internets, anything. Fish cannot be satisfied with anything. It has to be put in water. This example is quite graphic in the sense that the soul cannot be happy without Krishna's loving association. So we need to strive for that. We are trying, but we need to more and more realize the fact that we cannot live without the association of the devotees and the association of Krishna. So Prabhupada writes here that the ultimate aim of life is to attain the highest perfection stage of devotion service to Lord. So Prabhupada gives example. Of course, devotional service, what we are talking is like water for the fish. So the devotional service itself is the water for the fish, for the soul. Yeah, the sages could not come to a conclusion. Just like Prabhupada giving example here, like just like doctors differ. But just like doctors differ, sages also have different opinions and prescriptions. So they desired Sukadeva Goswami to appear. So that's how Sukadeva Goswami appearing and seeing. Tam Dvastyavarsham Sukumarapada Karorubahvam Sha Kapolagatram चार्व्यातक तक्षोन्नस तुल्यकर्ण शुभ्र कबुसुजातकण्ठम. Yeah. Is it?
This son of Vyasdev was only 16 years old. His legs, hands, thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead, and the other parts of his body were all delicately formed. His eyes were beautifully wide, and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a very attractive face, and his neck was well formed and beautiful like a conch shell.
Yeah. So here the features of Sukadeva Swami very much explained. It is so beautiful in his limbs and in his features. Nigudajatrum Prudutungavaksasam Avartanabhim Valivalgudaram cha Digambaram Vaktra Vikirna Kesham Pralambabahum Samarottamabham. Yeah, continue. Hare Krishna.
His collarbone was fleshy, his chest broad and thick, his navel deep, and his abdomen beautifully striped. His arms were long, and curly hair was strewn over his beautiful face. He was naked, and the hue of his body reflected that of Lord Krishna.
Yeah. Prabhupada mentions that his body hue resembled Lord Krishna. Sukadeva Goswami is also resembling like Lord Krishna, his hue of blue color. And his bodily features are explained in this verse. Shamam sada pivyavayo lakshmiya Srina manognam ruchirasmitena Prayuttitaste munaya swasanebhyas tallakshanagna abhighuda varchasam. Yeah, please read.
Reception by sages. He was blackish and was very beautiful due to his youth. Because of the glamour of his body and his attractive smiles, he was pleasing to women. Though he tried to cover his natural glories, the great sages present there were all expert in the art of physiognomy, and so they honored him by rising from their seats.
Yeah. Yeah, sages know Sukadeva Goswami definitely. Yeah, they all heard us about Sukadeva Goswami. But still, seeing his features also, they could understand he is Sukadeva Goswami. That's the beauty and the charm, the spiritual effulgence of a personality. Once a person is very much spiritually enlightened, he is physically also becomes very charming, very attractive. He has his aura of a personality. Just like you might have read about Prabhupada books, I mean Prabhupada glorification, biographies by devotees, and they explain very, very amazing way their interaction with Prabhupada, their perception of Prabhupada, how he's so charming, so wonderful, so glowing in his features. So we hear, we read. So that's how spiritual personality. Spiritual personality appears. Somebody had a question?
Yeah, Prabhuji, in the purport it is mentioned about the art of physiognomy. So any idea what is that?
Physiognomy deals with different body limbs. Understand how the body, face, the structure. You might have read Chaitanya Charitamrita, our Chakravarti, Nilambar Chakravarti.
Yes, yes.
So he could he could understand by seeing the features of Lord Chaitanya from the Shastra. That is called physiognomy. Different limbs, the sizes of the hands and the head and the chest and limbs, upper portion, raising portions, lower portions. These are all their indications. There are a lot of indications. 32 indications are expressed in Chaitanya Charitamrita about Lord Chaitanya. they are
Okay,
confused. So like that is Jagna.
got it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
स विष्णुरातो अतिथा आगताय तस्मै सपर्यां शिरसा जहार ततो निवृत्ता हि अबुधा स्त्रियोर्बका महासने सोपविशेष पूजितः.
Maharaj Parikshit, who is also known as Vishnu Rat, one who is always protected by Vishnu, bowed his head to receive the chief guest Shukdev Goswami. At that time, all the ignorant women and boys ceased following Srila Shukdev. Receiving respect from all, Shukdev Goswami took his exalted seat.
So here, after arriving, Sukadeva Goswami, of course, he was followed up in the sense that many women and children were very much teasing him, because generally in village also we see if a person is naked and if a person is appearing very like mad, then people keep on taking great pleasure by throwing him stones or making a fun. So similarly, this was happening, but when they saw that all the sages were stood up and the grandeur that they raised their feet and they are going down, they were astonished by seeing the glory of Sukadeva Goswami. They immediately ran, and they gave all the sages gave the high seat to Maharaj Sukadeva Goswami. But the presidential seat was offered. Thus he was offered presidential seat at the meeting. Yeah, that's what Prabhupada explains. Everything became, so they retired from frivolous activities and everything was full of gravity and calm. Okay. Samvrutastatra mahan mahiyasam brahmarshi rajarshi devarshi sangai vyarocatalam bhagavan yatendur graharshatara nikarai paritaha. Is it? Yeah.
Shukdev Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages, demigods, and kings, just as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies. His presence was gorgeous, and he was respected by all.
Yeah. So this means that the devotee of the Lord is more honored in the world than the devotee and the Lord himself. So one should therefore never minimize the importance of a devotee like Sukadeva Goswami. So everyone is offering prayer and offering their obeisances, knowing the glory of Sukadeva Goswami. And here explained that this is also explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita generally. Whenever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu conducts his classes, it was in Navadip settings. He was a teacher initially. Whenever he sits with all his students, he was compared to like a moon with stars. So that's how the glory is explained. Great personalities. Next verse. Prashantamasinamakунటమేధసం munim nrupo bhagavato vyupetya pranamya modna avahita kritanjaler natva gira shundutaya anvapruchat. Okay, please read.
The sage Sri Shukadeva Goswami sat perfectly pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer any question without hesitation. The great devotee Maharaj Parikshita approached him, offered his respects by bowing before him, and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands.
Highlighted portion you can do.
Maharaj,
Highlight
there is no necessity of approaching a spiritual master unless one is in need of solving the problems of life. One who does not know how to put questions before the spiritual master has no business seeing him, and the qualification of the spiritual master is perfectly manifested in the person of Shukadeva Goswami. Both the spiritual master and disciple, namely Sri Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, attained perfection through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami learned Srimad Bhagavatam from his father Vyasadeva, but he had no chance to recite it. Before Maharaj Parikshit, he recited Srimad Bhagavatam and answered the question of Maharaj Parikshit unhesitatingly, and thus both the master and the disciple got salvation.
Yeah. So now the situation is that where all the sages could not decide unanimously what is the solution or the answer for the two questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj. What is best for everyone, and in specific those who are going to die. So they desired Sukadeva Goswami, and Sukadeva Goswami's appearance is described by his bodily features and his physiognomy. And then he took up the main seat of president or the speaker. So now Maharaj Parikshit approached him, offering respects, going down. So his etiquette is explained here. Of course, Prabhupada explains the etiquette about in the first para. Maharaj Parikshit is etiquette. And then Maharaj Parikshit, Prabhupada explains the principle of approaching spiritual master here. Yeah, because Parikshit Maharaj is taking the role of a student or the disciple, Shishya, and Sukadeva Goswami is taking the role of the Acharya, spiritual master. Yeah, it's a basic principle as Gita also, and it's foundational for every spiritual aspirant that we need to take shelter of the spiritual master. Even in NOD also you might have read of the 64 Angas. What are the first, at least one or two, can you, any one of you please tell? If you remember, NOD, first few Angas of Bhakti out of 64. Anyone who wants to share? Please
Chanting
raise
the
hand.
holy names.
Pardon?
Chanting the holy names and reading Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay.
Association of devotee. Association of devotee.
Dhamavas.
Okay.
So, Prabhuji, in the Mangal Arti, what all activities you do? Many of the Angas are already there. For example, giving water to Tulsi, circumambulating Tulsi, then chanting, singing Arti.
Can you please please tell me in the first at least 4-5 Angas. What are the first 4-5 Angas?
Association of devotees in spiritual, taking initiation from spiritual master.
Yeah, correct.
Archanam Path Sevanam.
One. Please raise hand, please. One by one. Yeah, by Hari Prabhu.
Residing in Vrindavan or
Yeah, these are all mentioned in the last 5 potent ways. Yeah, Sachin Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Sachin Prabhu. Your voice is very faint. Okay, thank you. Yashika Mataji.
Archanam Path Sevanam Kirtanam.
There are 9 limbs of devotional service. There are definitely some Angas might have, definitely they are there. Not all 9 are there in the 64 limbs are different. 9 limbs of devotional service, chanting, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. They are there, but 64 limbs are mentioned in NOD. Basically, Rupa Goswami mentions the first 4-5 exclusively about spiritual master. Guru Padashrayam, taking shelter of spiritual master, first one. Then Guru, Guru Dikshadi Shikshanam. We need to take initiation, Diksha Shikshadi, Diksha Shikshadi. We have to take initiation from Spiritual Master, Shiksha from Spiritual Master. Vishrambena Guru Seva. We have to serve the Spiritual Master with intimacy. That's what the first 4 or 5 are exclusively mentioned by. Exclusively mentioned by.
Yes.
Yes, bro. So these are the basic first 5 principles of. We need to remember. First 20 are very important. What are the do's and what are the don'ts? So that Guru Padashraya. Prabhupada mentions these are the principles of Bhakti principles. Tatra Guru Padashraya, accepting spiritual shelter of the Lotus feet of Spiritual Master. Means we are aspiring from Spiritual Master. Then Sri Krishna Dikshadi Shikshanam. Please mute yourself. So they are aspiring and they're taking initiation and Siksha also. And then Vishrambena Guru Seva. It's not just Guru Seva. Serving Spiritual Master with faith and devotion, with great intimacy. Then Sadhu Vatman Vatmanam. Then following the great Acharyas, not only Spiritual Master, under the direction of Spiritual Master. Tadharma Puricha. Inquiring from Spiritual Master to how to advance in spiritual life. Not for the sake of any material benefits or asking how to cure my disease or any other material things from the Spiritual Master. How to earn money, how to earn name and fame. So not these things. So Dharma Puricha. So these are the crucial aspects of devotional service. The 5 limbs, 5 potent limbs are different. But these are the initial 5 limbs where exclusively about Spiritual Master are to be understood and practiced and exercised more and more to deepen our relationship with Spiritual Master. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadat nagati kuto. So without Spiritual Master, the pleasing Spiritual Master or following Spiritual Master instructions, we can't advance in spiritual life. So that's what Prabhupada main always emphasizes on this point. Okay, now Parishit Maharaj asked the questions. He's going to now he folded hands and he respectfully greeted Sukadeva Swami. Now he's going to put forward his questions. Parishit Uvacha Aho Adya Vayam Brahman Satsevya Kshatra Bantavaha Prapayatiti Rupena Bhavadbhis Tidaka Krita.
The fortunate King Parikshit said, O Brahmana, by your mercy only you have sanctified us, making us like into places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we who are but unworthy royalty have become eligible to serve the devotees.
Please read.
Humbling oneself before spiritual master. Pranipata. From birth, he was a devotee. Krishna personally saved him. Saintly devotees like Shukadev Goswami generally do not approach worldly enjoyers, especially those in royal orders.
Yeah. So here Parishit Maharaj is humbling. Yeah, same pattern of the mood and etiquette of Parishit Maharaj toward the sages. We will see here also again. It's definitely it's not a mechanical one, but at the same time, it's from heart. He's trying to humbling himself before Sukadeva Goswami. That's the nature of a devotee, and especially the Pranipata disciple. He has to humble himself before spiritual master Pranipata. Though he was from birth, he is a devotee. Krishna personally saved him. He's not that I am a devotee, I am practicing from last 60, 70 years. How can I bow down before someone? It's not the mood. The mood and the etiquette, the same with sages and same with Sukadeva Goswami. He is very much humbling himself. Unworthy royalty. So there he mentioned That kind of same kind of mood he expressed before the sages also. We are worthy of rejected things, like Prabhupada explains in graphic about everything there. But he also saying almost same mood is carrying on. So here Prabhupada explains the example of Prataparuddha and Lord Chaitanya. This case, how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't want to see even Prataparuddha, or to speak of associating with. So that's what expressed by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit, out of his devotional humility, felt himself an unworthy descendant of his great Kshatriya forefathers, although he was as great as his predecessors. So that's the nature of a devotee. Internal feelings, internal etiquettes. Externally, we can do many things. I mean, becoming a devotee is hardly a kind of a Gaurang Prabhu, His Grace Gaurang Prabhu mentions, hardly a overnight job. You give up, I mean, ordinary clothes, you take up dhoti kurta. I mean, if you are becoming a brahmachari, then you shave up with 1 rupee blade and take dhoti kurta. That's it. One night dresses can be changed, but internal things take weeks, months, years. Yeah, that's the subtleties takes a lot of time. So, but the devotional humility, he is himself is feeling like that. The internal attitudes, they grow by practice. I mean, we need to, though we are not at the stage, we may not be feeling that one. One time, Brahmanand Prabhu was expressing to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I don't feel like going down to you. Prabhupada said, you go down first, then feeling will come. So we do the activities first. Internals may take time and will take time to develop internal feelings. But the external activities, at least we go on with a mood and with aspiration to develop internal qualities. So that's what here expressed by Prabhupada in a graphic way. Yesham sansmaranat pumsam sadyah shuddyanti vaigraha kim punardarshana sparsha pada sauchasanadibihi. Is it?
Glorifying the spiritual master, Shukadeva Goswami 1. Simply by our remembering you, our houses becomes instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home. Sages makes the pilgrimages. The importance of holy places of pilgrimage is due to the presence of great sages and saints. It is said that sinful persons go to the holy places and leave their sins there to accumulate. But the presence of the great saints disinfects the accumulated sins, and thus the holy places continue to remain sanctified by the grace of the devotees and saints present there.
Yeah. So he is glorifying, or Parikshit Maharaj is glorifying Sukadeva Goswami just by remembering you, what to speak of other things. Right. Esham sansmaranat pumsam satyashuddhanti vaigraha kim punardarshana sparsha pasavajra. What to speak of touching you, washing your lotus feet and offering a seat. So these are all wonderful things that Vaishnava etiquette that one need to, I mean, generally it's giving respect to the saints because they carry the Lord. We heard this, you might have read the sloka from Vidura section that Yudhishthira Maharaj glorifies Vidura that you Tirthipurvanti Tirthani Swantastena Kadapuddha. So because you carry the Supreme Lord in the heart, Kadapuddha, so that's why you are the places of pilgrimage. Wherever you go, you make the place pilgrimage. So the sages make the pilgrimages. They are themselves the holy pilgrimages. That's how we need to respect them. We need to take their association. We need to appreciate them. So, of course, Prabhupada explains in other ways, a householder who dishonors or such a holy orders is a great offender. It is enjoined, therefore, that a householder who does not bow down before a saint at once must go fasting for the day in order to neutralize the great offense. Yeah, by taking their, by appreciating them, by respecting them, we gain great benefits. At the same time, opposite also happens. If we do any kind of offenses, our spiritual credits will go down. So in both ways, it's explained. Okay, we will see one verse, and then we will see if we have any question. Maybe 3-4 verses will remain. Maybe tomorrow we will complete. सान्निध्यात्ते महायोगिन् पातकानि महन्त्यपि सद्यो नश्यन्ति वै पुंसां विष्णोरिवासुरेतरा. Yeah, please read.
Just as the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the personality of Godhead, so also the invulnerable sins of a man are immediately vanquished in your presence, O saint, O great mystic.
Yeah. Please read.
The great saints, I am reading the yellow part.
Yeah,
the
please.
great saints and devotees of the Lord are in the list of his paraphernalia, and thus, as soon as a saintly devotee is present, the ghostly sins are at once vanquished.
Yeah. So here, of course, Parikshit Maharaj is glorifying Sukadeva Swami, giving an example here, a specific example of Vishnu Rivasuretara. That's like when there is Lord's presence is there cannot be any sinful demons. So Prabhupada explains the two classes of people, demigods and devotees. Now, but the demons are always busy in trying to vanquish the personality of Godhead. That's the nature of, just like Duryodhana, when we have known, we have read and we have seen. They are always trying to put down the Lord, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, all the nature of the devotees, nature of the demons, sorry. Devotees always wants to glorify the Lord, all the saintly personalities. So that's of course, these qualities. Definitely we have some demonic qualities also in us, because as age of Kali, the demigod qualities and demonic qualities both will be there in the heart. So the demonic qualities has to be curbed by our very, very attentive and strong sadhana, and the divine qualities has to be more and more nourished. So the famous example of good dog and bad dog is generally spoken. So we need to be careful about demonic qualities, not to criticize, offend, disrespect the Vaishnavas and the devotees and the Lord also. Generally, we don't do for the Lord, in general for the devotees. Okay, we'll pause here. If you have any question, maybe one question we can take, 3-4 minutes are there. Not two questions. And then we can continue.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, ma'am.
Prabhuji, I have two questions. This question is not related to this topic, but then was having quite some time. Prabhuji, why Supreme Lord Krishna himself manifested in the womb of Uttara, Parikshit Maharaj's mother, and saves Parikshit Maharaj, but at the same time, Abhimanyu was Supreme Lord's sister's son, but why Krishna didn't save Abhimanyu?
Yeah, the Mahabharata is really a very exciting and wonderful story to read and hear. Definitely, that's I didn't go through the details of Mahabharata. I never read in detail what exactly the reason. But what I heard, the Abhimanyu it was the plan of the Lord. That's what we heard. That I mean, definitely Krishna can do anything, right? Krishna can do, because he's Supreme Lord. If he want, he could have immediately severed all the 6 people who are trying to kill Abhimanyu. All the Maharajas who are on the battlefield. They were very much trying to kill Abhimanyu, and they kill also Padma Vyuha. They specially made Padma Vyuha. And you might have read the story also. I mean, when Padma Vivaha was explained to Abhimanyu, Abhimanyu was in the womb and he heard how to enter. And Krishna only specifically stopped. So he could not heard how to return, how to get out of the Padma Vivaha. So he could chase, he could break the Padma Vivaha, but he could not come out. Generally, it's explained. What I heard is a special plan of the Lord. What are the background details? What is his previous life, and why he was killed? Any reason? At least I am not much aware. But exactly who is the woman in past life, or what is his history and all. But in terms of Parikshit Maharaj, yeah, he was the last heir, and especially our Subhadra. Uttara prayed to the Lord, please protect my son. And Krishna especially protected Parikshit Maharaj to continue the kingdom. He was the last heir. There was no any heir further. So he wanted to protect Parikshit Maharaj to continue the kingdom of Pandavas for some time, and especially to manifest his glory, and especially Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's what my understanding.
Okay, Prabhu. Prabhu, I'm sorry. Actually, this question was not into my mind, but while you gave answer, just one vague question came into my mind. Draupadi's sons were also last heir of this glorious Pandavas, but then
they were killed.
Yeah, they were killed, and Draupadi and Subhadra are almost same for Krishna. Krishna says Krishna to Draupadi. I mean, the relation between both of them, kind of sister. So, I mean, of course, there is some plan of Supreme Lord, which is
yeah, Ashwatthama killed Draupadi's sons.
Yeah, I mean, they also get killed, right? Even
Yeah.
if they were last heirs, and they are basically Draupadi's and Pandava's sons. I mean,
correct.
because
Yeah, these are all. Yeah, ultimately it's a special plan of the Lord. Otherwise, Ashwatthama, even Duryodhana did not satisfy. He was not at all pleased when he came to know that these are the sons of Pandavas. I mean, they are not Pandavas. When Ashwatthama brought the heads, you might have read the story in 6 and 7 chapters. He was not at all pleased. Even Duryodhana is not pleased. What to speak of others? So, I mean, it's all special plan of the Lord to continue ahead the story. That's my understanding.
Yeah. Prabhuji, last question. Prabhuji, this is related to the topic. In shloka number 18, we have read the interplanetary communication. So, Prabhuji, even if the question is vague, but I was little curious to know about, like as mentioned in shloka number 18, interplanetary communication. So, that, I mean, all these things happened in Kali Yuga. So, Kali Yuga itself. So now, if we take into account the Chandrayaan-3 Mohim, so this also happened in this Yuga only, the Kali Yuga only. So as it was previously happened going into another planet, and now this has also happened. So if here Parikshit Maharaj, demigods themselves came to see Parikshit Maharaj, as he was the dearmost devotee of Supreme Lord. So that's why the demigods were visible. However, if in future, I'm sorry, Prabhuji, for the very vague question, but if in future, if there is some, if someone wants to, now, even if in Chandrayaan-3 Mohim, it is for material sense gratification. I mean, all those, the purpose, the final purpose, the underlying principle was increasing our material things. The final motive of this such kind of mohim. So, Prabhuji, if the final motive, the purpose is Krishna conscious purpose in future, then will it be possible for the people, the great saints in this Kali Yuga to see the predominant deities of Chandra, I mean, any higher planet? I mean, I might not be able to ask you the question in a proper way, Prabhu. But then while reading the purport, that thing struck me. Sorry for the question.
Surely the question is very exciting to understand and more, but may not be exactly relevant now. So definitely, that's what Prabhupada mentions in one of the purports, that till the moment of Dwapar Yuga ending, that's where when Parishit Maharaj, all the Pandavas are there, that's how they were very much so pious, and that's how they could access, even demigods could come and do some things. But the Kali Yuga became so rampant in all sinful activities, and Kali is so prominent. There is no question of seeing any kind of celestial beings now. And regards to moon, definitely we cannot, at least from Prabhupada point of view, we cannot access, though we may go, just like he gave example, though you may land up in a desert, on earth, Rajasthan, you cannot access the people of Rajasthan. Similarly, even if people go to the moon planet, they cannot access the people because they need some special consciousness, special piety. Piety is needed. So that's what I can share for today's context. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot.
Prabhuji, I have 2 questions. It's
I
related
think
to the topic.
they have announcements. Maybe once you let announcement happen, and then if those who have questions, maybe you can ask. I'll remain here. Those who have services, they can continue after the announcements. After the announcements, we can continue question answer. Yes, Prabhuji. Anuj bro.
Thank you, Krishna Prabhuji.
Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very good to you for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, tomorrow, how much time do we need for the class? Do we need full class?
You have some other engagement?
No, Prabhuji, just asking.
No, I was told to continue the first and second chapters of second canto.
Achha, I was not aware, Prabhuji.
Oh, sorry, I think he didn't convey.
Okay.
Yeah, we are going to continue first and second chapter. So next class tomorrow we are going to start second canto first chapter.
Okay.
And the next week we'll see how it goes. But he told me to continue first and second.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that's the update maybe.
So quick announcements. So devotees who have missed any of the closed book exams, so I see devotees have not filled form. So please fill the form. I'll send the form again in the WhatsApp group. So please, like it will be students' responsibility only to make sure that they complete all their pending exams. And if you fill the form, I will be able to organize it. So please do that. And regarding Shloka test, most of the devotees have completed. Some devotees expressed concern. So Prabhuji has said that like they would be writing. So we'll be conducting a Shloka test again with the next Shloka test. So for us, there will be 6 Shloka test total, 10 to 15 shlokas in every test. So like those who have missed for this part, then like 25 shlokas together, they will have to give whenever there is a next test. So please take care that it would be good for us if we complete the shloka test in one go. And usually, like Prabhuji was telling, he had mentioned also the shloka test for Bhakti Vaibhava is in 3 parts only, total 75 shlokas, 25, 25, 25. So for since most of us are grasta, so for us, like Prabhuji has split it further, like it's in 25 divided into 2 parts. And regarding OBS, please submit all your pending OBS. We are kind of officially completing, just few shlokas are remaining. We are completing our Canto 1 today, and like tomorrow we would be starting with Canto 2. So please complete all your OBA, CBA, shloka test, etc. for the first canto. And as I had announced in the group, we will be having a gap for Kartik Yatra, and then we will resume our classes from December. And as announced, next Sunday, which is 29th October, we will have Unit 6 closed book exam. Hare Krishna. And there was one more thing which was shared. So BBRB has created one login ID and password. Basically, they have like built a system wherein we will be able to see our submissions and marks. So I will share the login details with you personally, and devotees can, I have to receive that, like there's some problem in the video. I'll check that, and like once I receive it, I'll be sharing that. Then devotees can log in and see the status of their OBA, CBS, and marks, etc. over there. So more details to come on that. Thank you. That's it. Prabhuji, you may take Q&A unless devotee have something else related to this. Any clarification regarding announcements or anything?
Yes. Those who want to attend questions, maybe they can be there. Otherwise, they can continue with their services or whatever. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Yes.
Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. We'll take your leave.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, actually, in text 33 purport, we read in the last line, a household who dishonors such holy orders is a great offender. It is enjoined, therefore, that a householder who does not bow down before a saint at once must go fasting for the day in order to neutralize the great offense. So, Prabhuji, how fasting neutralizes the offense? I mean,
Generally, it's a general saying, but generally, offense to a devotee is not neutralized. But there are different grades of offenses. There are different grades of offenses. It's here with the bowing down is you are not verbally or at different levels. There are kaiki, manasi, and vacha. There are different levels of offenses. So here is not respecting one. It's generally enjoying the scriptures that one should fast. So that will at least, of course, internal mood also has to be there. That I disrespected by not going down. But this is from Shastra only. Prabhupada is quoting from Shastra. The prayaschitta, any for particular offense, there are different kinds of prayashchittas. So how exactly it is? Because we are taking, that's my understanding, that bodily you could not offer respect. So you have to take some bodily pain by fasting. Maybe that kind of understanding can be there. So, yeah, that's my understanding. But these are all scripturally mentioned prashchitas, what Prabhupada is mentioning in that purport. Yeah, but offenses has different grades, and they have, especially some offenses doesn't have any kind of neutralization at all. Criticizing and blaspheming. So these are all different grades of offenses. Yes.
Prabhuji, my second question is, Prabhuji, we heard when gross body starts to pain, then subtle body gets disturbed. So, Prabhuji, can you explain this more? Actually, subtle body has man, buddhi, ahankar. So, how is it, disturbing? In case of, I heard recently, I heard an example of Shri Radha Govind Maharaj Ji. Maharaj gets half paralyzed recently, and Loknath Swami Maharaj, what he did, Maharaj was not responding actually. Then Loknath Swami Maharaj pulled his foot's, his foot's thumb, and then he spoke some incompleted Bhagavatam shloka. Then after few minutes, Maharaj responded and completed the Bhagavatam shloka.
So as I explained, that body and the gross body and subtle body, I'll just give the principle. Maybe it varies to various devotees, but see, it's like a gross body and subtle body. They have connection, deep connection, at least in the conditioned stage. And the liberated stage, there is entirely different mechanism. Just like an example of coconut I gave. So that the more the coconut shell or the coconut is getting dried and it's separated from the coconut shell, the external coconut shell may undergo different what is experiences externally, but doesn't have anything to the internal coconut. It is similar to like Utrasur. Last time also you might have read. Utrasur was already left the body. The Indra is just killing the external body. So in great devotees who are completely detached from internally, so they don't have any kind of a disturbance from the external body, but because they are in the body, it's like a inconvenience to the soul to exhibit the spiritual activities in the body. Just like let us suppose I own a car. Let us suppose I am going in a car and I met an accident. Then I feel very much disappointed because car is very much, of course, it's not a break. It's not a huge accident, but accident happened to the car, and car was very much spoiled. So I feel very much, because the more the degree I have attachment to the car, I feel a lot of hesitation. But let us suppose the same car I sold. So the next day, I see the next neighbor who bought my car met with accident. Do I feel anything? I feel joy. I mean, I don't feel joy but internally I feel at least I am not at all affected. I feel happy. Okay, I sold it yesterday on, because you don't have any connection to the body. Connection to the car. Is not at all attached to the car now. So that is the liberated condition is selling the car itself, just like Rudrasur. I mean, he is not bothered about what happened to the body. But attached means we are so much attached to the body. Anything happens to the body, we are disturbed internally. But right now, advanced devotees are in the body. They are using the body for service of the Lord. If something happens to the body, it's like a cab you are taking. You want to go attend a meeting, important meeting, and the car met accident, small accident, let us suppose. You are not pained like a owner. I mean, if my car is get accident, then I have a lot of grudge. But though it's a cab, you don't feel great pain, but you feel inconvenience because you have to attend a meeting and you have to go to attend a meeting in time. So now car met accident. So this is the case of advanced devotees. Currently they are staying in the body. The body is like a vehicle which is supposed to be used for the service of the Lord, but it's not working properly. So they feel the kind of inconvenience with the body. So that's how my understanding of that's what I heard, how it works internally. But the more the advancement happens, the more they are detached from the external disturbances of the body. They are completely internally absorbing themselves in the remembrance of the Lord. Though externally it appears for us, they are under pain. It's quite a situation, quite a we cannot judge from external. We cannot at all judge what they are undergoing. It may appearing pain for us externally, they are crying or whatever. They may be experiencing spiritual ecstasy also. Yeah, that's the understanding of advanced devotees. Hope it makes some sense.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll pause here. If no other, any one question. Okay, Anuj bro, we'll pause here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much for your patient hearing.
Thank you.
And extending. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.